Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all this afternoon. Thank you for joining our webinar today. We are so glad because we have a lot of guests to join this section today. So this is Alexa, our relationship manager of the Premium Leisure. And this is my colleague, Evelyn. She's the project manager of the Premium Tour.
Hi, I'm Evelyn.
OK， so 或者我哋都介紹下點解我哋今日會講呢個不丹啦，因為我其實都好多客人都中意去不丹嘅，所以我哋今日第一炮就揀咗呢個不丹嘅 topic 先。咁另外，我哋介紹下我哋個 presenter 出場先。This is our honor to partner with andBeyond to give you the following presentation. Without further ado, so I would like to introduce our presenter, Mr. Raisi Sharma. Hi, Raisi. Will you say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone. Well, warm welcome to this overview of Bhutan.
Okay. So before we pass the time for the presentation, we will share with you the video of Bhutan so you will know more and how beautiful it is.
I chose to live 3 lives, 3 periods of 30 years each to be more precise. That's how I've been guiding things. My visit to Bhutan marks the beginning of the 3rd part. This time, I let myself be guided. But let me tell you my story first. Life number 1 was spent studying, preparing myself for life number 2, and, to be honest, having a lot of fun. Life number 2, working in a big company, becoming the boss, getting married, and creating a beautiful family. It was a hell of a journey. Number 3, retirement, they say. This is where I am right now, welcoming a new challenge. Welcome in Bhutan. This time I left the guidance to a Bhutanese young fellow called Eugene, with an open heart and plenty of stories to tell. They say happiness is a place, and it's called Bhutan. So what better place to plan life number 3 than a place where the growth of the country is measured by the level of happiness of their people? As I was observing Eugene, my lead for this new beginning, I fully understood the importance of this measurement. By following him, I went on a journey to the heart of Bhutan, a heart filled with nature, silence, values and spiritual symbols, the monks' rituals, the peaceful but tough-to-reach tiger's nest, and the warm welcoming of the Bhutanese people. They all cleansed my soul. And made me understand why we don't need much to be happy. This, though, is a path I would like to leave opened and unanswered. I'll just say for now that it might have to do with caring for others and sharing the knowledge one has acquired throughout life. But you should do as I did. Come to Bhutan to find the answer for yourself. As for me, this is just the beginning of a new and exciting life.
Okay.
Okay, hi, Mr. Rithi. You can go ahead to introduce Bhutan now. by your beautiful slide.
Okay.
Share screen. Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm starting off with this iconic image of Bhutan. As you can see in front of you is the tiger's nest, which I'm sure most of you will associate with Bhutan and also would have seen in the past. I will spend some more time on tiger's nest when we come to the Paro Valley towards the end of the presentation. But I just wanted to share some interesting facts and also a little bit about Bhutan so that you are well versed with it if you're planning to travel anytime soon here. So what you see in front of you is the airport in Paro and the Druk Air flight taking off. So how do you reach Bhutan? So basically, there are three cities which are really well connected to Bhutan. One is Bangkok in Thailand. Number two is New Delhi in India and Kathmandu in Nepal. There are only two airlines which are both Bhutanese owned. One is Druk Air, one is Bhutan Airlines. And they only have 6 aircraft. So obviously Bhutan has very limited connectivity. Only 17 pilots are allowed to land here, and it's a beautiful airport right in the middle of the mountains. So when you're flying in on a clear day, you will see snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas as well. What you see in front of you is the king and queen of Bhutan in their traditional costume, which is also known as the go and the kira. Go is what the queen is wearing, and kira is what the king is wearing. The Go and Kira are very important elements of the Bhutanese culture. And in fact, people are encouraged to wear it as part of GNH. As one of the pillars of GNH, in fact, is preservation and promotion of culture. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about GNH. GNH is the way they, GNH is basically gross national happiness. So instead of GDP, Bhutan follows GNH. And obviously the Gos and Kiras are intricately woven Bhutanese fabrics, which can be of silk, sheep wool, yak wool, and nowadays they also use polyester and terry cottons. But the traditional, very expensive Gos and Kiras are traditionally made of silk and usually are family heirlooms and are, only worn during festivals or weddings. So why do people come to Bhutan? It's mainly to experience the culture and Buddhism. So mainly to understand how Buddhism is different here. Bhutan basically follows Vajrayana Buddhism, which is practiced here since the 8th and was introduced in the 8th century by Guru Padmasambhava. Although it originated in Tibet, actually the Buddhism that Bhutan follows is slightly different as it has influence of Bon religion. Bon religion is basically, the practice of worshipping nature, mountains, rivers, etc. So in Bhutan, one interesting aspect is that none of the mountains, like in Nepal, where you can climb to the peaks, you're not allowed to climb to the peaks here or take a bath in one of the lakes in the mountains because they are all supposed to be holy and protected. So there is no mountain climbing allowed in Bhutan. The monastic body with the chief abbot basically is the head of the monastic body, and he has equal powers as the king of Bhutan. And in fact, whenever you see any functions or festivals, the king and the chief abbot actually are seated at the same level. So a lot of governance is also guided by the monastic body here in Bhutan. A very important aspect is the Thechus. Thechus are basically festivals where, and these are basically festivals where there are lots of mass dances and are used to spread the teachings of Guru Padmasambhava. This is also an opportunity for the locals. For example, if it's a festival happening in Thimphu or in Paro or in Punakha, So all the locals from the surrounding areas will dress up in their finest silk, as I said. Silk goes, kiras come to this festival and meet everyone. So once a year, they all get to greet each other, meet everyone, and dress up in their finest clothes. Here, what you see in front of you is an Atsara. He is actually a joker, which you will see when you come in September during the Techu. He is basically there to entertain people between different dances. When the dancers are changing from one mask dance to another. And so basically, these festivals happen on the 10th day of the lunar calendar. So every valley in Bhutan, so the six prominent valleys are Thimphu, Punakha, Gangte, Bumthang, Paro, and Ha Valley. So this festival happens at a separate month of the year across all these valleys. And in fact, on the 10th day of the lunar calendar. Alexa, over to you.
喂，hello，係啊，咦，係啊，其實咧，因為啱啱呢幅圖咧，其實就係講緊其中一個好大嘅節令，就叫拆秋節嘅。咁其實我哋都安排好多啲 private tour 俾我哋啲客人去不丹嘅呢幾年。咁但係我哋可以同大家分享下啦。其實好多客人去不丹都會就翻啲節令去，因為點解咧？當佢有啲節令嘅時候咧，佢哋會有好多活動啊，同埋成個國家都好開心啊，好啲人民都會走晒出嚟，同埋你會見到好多好 colourful 嘅，咁你絕對可以影到好多靚相啦。咁所以每年特別其中呢一個9月份嘅拆秋節咧，就會好多客人去嘅。咁如果大家都想揀翻啲節令去咧，我哋可以容後再介紹俾大家嘅。咁啊，Mr. Rex, over to you.
Thank you. So the other thing that people come to Bhutan for is to experience nature and to be in nature. Obviously, Bhutan is part of the lower Himalayas, so it's extremely green. Beautiful hiking trails, which end up in secluded monasteries, temples where monks are either in a retreat or studying. So it's beautiful to explore the countryside through walks or hikes, depending on your ability, rather than just sticking to the town areas of where you visit. So also after these hikes, there are great opportunities to visit these monasteries, interact with little monks or nuns who are studying there. So if someone's traveling with their family and they have kids, they can interact with these small monks and nuns. Or we can also organize a blessing ceremony in one of these monasteries where the monks and lamas will come together and do a blessing for you for long life, wish fulfillment, etc. Now, coming to the tour that we have organized with Connexus in September, I'm just going to give you an overview of what we will be doing when you are in Bhutan. I'm just starting here with the map to show you where you will be. We will be basically covering Western Bhutan, and we'll be spending 2 nights in each of the valleys that you can see in front of you, starting with Thimphu, then going on to Punakha for 2 nights, then going on to Gangte for 2 nights, and ending in Paro with 2 nights. So what will be the highlights during this itinerary? Obviously the Thimphu Techu, which happens in September in Thimphu, and this is obviously the biggest festival in Bhutan. Here you will be able to interact with the locals, all dressed in their finest gos and kiras, and also see the colorful mass dances. These are performed by lay monks during the Techu, and also some of the villagers from around. Other highlights from Thimphu are Buddha Dodharma, which is basically a 54-meter tall Buddha, and was actually built to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the king, 4th king. It is made actually of bronze and then gilded in gold. It also contains about 100,000 smaller Buddhas, which are similar statues and are actually placed inside this Buddha. The other opportunities in Thimphu is to go to the local market, interact with the locals there, and then obviously going to the weaving center, interacting with the weavers there, as weaving is a very integral part of the society here. You will also see how long you'll be able to interact with them on how long it takes to make a go or a kira, and also maybe buy something off them. The base for Thimphu is the Taj Sashi. This is the hotel that you'll be staying in. A beautiful property located right in the middle of Thimphu. So it's very close to all the attractions, to the Zong where the Techu will take place. Also, what we will do when you are here is get you dressed up in a go and a kira on the first night. And then you can also have a Bhutanese dinner. The restaurant that you see at the right side corner is the restaurant you will be eating in. And this is the only specialty Bhutanese restaurant in town. So it'll be a little immersion for you where you will get to experience the food and the clothes that the Bhutanese wear. The next valley that we'll be going to is the Punakha Valley. This is actually also the rice bowl of Bhutan, because most of the rice production happens in Punakha. The capital of Bhutan actually was Punakha until it shifted to Thimphu in 1952, and this was done in order to protect the agricultural lands in this valley. So if this remained as the capital, the king thought that it will become very built up like now Thimphu is, and that's why he had the foresight to move it to Thimphu, where the lands are not as fertile as Punakha. The Zong that you see, basically a Zong is a fortress which was built to basically protect themselves from Tibetan invasions. And this Zong is the most beautiful and the most important Zong in Bhutan. This was the second Zong to be built, and it was built in 1637. So basically, this Zong was the seat of the government as well as the monastic body until it shifted to Thimphu. Also, this Zong actually houses the sacred relics of the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism. So all kings in Bhutan mandatorily are coronated here first. So they have to sit on the throne here in the throne room. And then once that is done, then they can shift to Thimphu for overall governance. Also, the monastic body still actually shifts to Punakha during the winter, because Thimphu is much colder, and also because of the sacred relics that are stored in this Zong. The monastic body, along with the chief abbot, actually at the start of the winter, around November, they shift to Punakha, and then they come back to Thimphu again in February, March, when the winter ends. The other highlight in Punakha will be the Chimilakhang, or the Temple of the Divine Madman. It is basically dedicated to Drukpa Kwinle, who was a monk missionary of the Tibetan Mahamudra tradition. He was known for his crazy methods of enlightening, beings. So basically, one of his ways of enlightenment was to have sex with women, and this was his way of telling people that you can be enlightened, but you can also maintain a healthy sex life. He is also credited with introducing the practice of phallus paintings and also placing carved phalluses to ward off evil. You will see this across Bhutan when you travel. It'll be either painted in houses or hanging from houses or in agricultural fields to ward off evil. The hotel that we'll be staying in Punakha is the Dhensa, which you see in front of you. It's a beautiful 4-star property which is surrounded by beautiful pine forests overlooking the Punakha Valley. Next, we go to Gangte Valley. This is one of the most beautiful glacial valleys that you will go to on this trip. It is absolutely untouched, as you can see from this picture in front of you. This is also the valley where the blackneck cranes basically migrate to in the winter from Tibet. They arrive at the end of November and leave around February, March. Gangte is all about basically enjoying nature. So hence what we will be doing here is exploring nature. We'll be doing certain walks, and for some of you who are not, just satisfied with smaller walks, we can also incorporate some hikes, which will be longer, and you'll really enjoy the views in this valley. The other place that we will be visiting while we are in Gangte is the Shedra. A Shedra is basically a monk college. Here, we'll be attending the daily evening prayers that the monks do. There are about 200 monks who are studying there. They come together basically to perform their daily evening prayers, and it's quite a mesmerizing experience because they use these instruments that are kept in front of them, and they are all singing in unison. It is a beautiful experience to hear them chant. We will be also visiting the Gangte Goemba, which is one of the main monasteries in this region. It's a monastery, it's actually a Nyingmapa school of for Buddhism, and that's why you also have the Shedra there. It dates back to the 17th century. And also what we will do is in Gangte, we will get you to play some archery, which is the national sport of Bhutan. You can do this at the grounds of the Gangte Lodge where you'll be staying. So this is the beautiful Gangte Lodge where we'll be staying. It is designed to look like a traditional farmhouse, but absolutely spectacularly done, beautiful views, very good service, and very good food as well. Now coming to Paro, obviously what you see in front of you is the tiger's nest. This is not only the highlight for Paro, but for most guests, it's also the highlight of their entire trip to Bhutan. It was built in 1962 around a cave where Guru Padmasambhava meditated for 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, and 3 hours in the 8th century. So the legend has it that he flew on the back of a tigress from Khenpajong to this location. So basically that's why it's called the tiger's nest. The whole hike basically will take about 5 hours, and the altitude gain is about 900 meters. And in totality, from start to finish, it's about 11 kilometers in total. If someone doesn't want to go all the way up, there is an option of going only halfway up on a horseback, but that person also needs to come back down hiking because horses cannot carry you back down. Over to you, Alexa.
OK，但係 Tiger Nest 其實都係一個地標嚟，所以咧去親不丹嘅客人都一定要去。但係如果即係我哋都會照顧不同嘅客人㗎嘛，咁如果有啲即係譬如我唔想行得咁辛苦喎，咁 Evelyn 你之前去過，你覺得行得辛唔辛苦啊？
其實咧，因為個高度嘅問題啦，因為 Tiger Nest 呢個地方咧係大概3120個 meter 嘅 ，so 因為高度嘅問題可能咧有啲冇行過山嘅朋友咧就可能覺得有啲喘嘅，但其實咧只要慢慢行咧，再加上我哋當地嘅導遊都好有經驗嘅，慢慢行大概行4至5個鐘係冇問題嘅。
咁如果我真係唔想行，但係我又一定要去咧，咁我哋係咪應該都可以 fulfill 到嘅？我相信係咪咧？
冇問題㗎，其實咧當地咧都有一啲直升機嘅 scenic tour 咧，有30分鐘啦、60分鐘或者90分鐘咧，最短個30分鐘咧通常係最 popular 嘅，就會坐直升機咧繞住 Paro 嘅峽谷個高原仲有 Tiger Nest 咧做一個 scenic tour 嘅，大家都可以坐直升機嚟欣賞呢度嘅風景嘅。
哦，咁都好啊，因為我哋一向嘅宗旨都係要照顧不同客人嘅需要，同埋有啲即係辛苦工作都唔想咁辛苦噶嘛，咁係
絕對冇問題嘅。
OK， Hi Mr. Rishi, it's your time.
Okay. So what will be the other things that you will be doing in Paro? We will basically be placing a prayer flag for you when you're coming back down from Tiger's Nest. These are basically blessed by a monk, so you'll be tying them along with your guide. We'll be going to the National Museum. This museum basically, which you can see on the left side, this is placed in the Tazong. Tazong is basically a watchtower that was built above the Parozong to keep a watch on Tibetan invasions. And this Zong basically has been converted into a museum. And this museum has lots of old Thangka paintings, a nice mask collection, lots of bronze statues, and also it has a natural history section which shows the flora and fauna of Bhutan, right from normal leopards and snow leopards to different birds and plant species. What we'll also be doing is going to a local farmhouse here so that we can show you how a traditional farmhouse looks, what it is like from the inside, how people used to live in Bhutan, where you have different levels of accommodation, one for the animals, one for themselves, one for cooking, and one for storage of grains and also drying of meats, etc. Here you'll be able to interact with that family, have a cup of suja, which is the local yak butter tea. And for those of you who are a little more adventurous, you can actually try the local rice wine as well. Here we'll be staying in Paro. We will be staying at the Jiwaling Heritage Hotel. This is one of the first 4-star properties in Bhutan. Very traditionally built, a lot of carvings, a lot of beautiful artwork done inside the hotel, and very nice property. Here in front of you, you can see some of the popular dishes from Bhutan. So starting on the left-hand side corner is emadatsi. Emadatsi basically means chili and cheese. This is the main dish that everyone in Bhutan would have, because chili is not treated as a spice in Bhutan, but actually it is a vegetable. So they have chili with every meal along with rice. The next dish is a milder version of a similar dish, and it is made with potato and cheese. So it's called the kevadatsi. Also, the other popular ingredient, grain other than rice is actually buckwheat. So they eat a lot of buckwheat noodles. They eat also the buckwheat pancake that you can see in front of you. And in the westernmost region of Bhutan, they also make this unique dumpling, which is made of buckwheat and radish leaves. On the right-hand side corner is suja, which is the yak butter tea, which you'll be able to taste when you're here. A traditional Bhutanese meal would consist of red rice and lots of greens, and as well as meat and chili. That is what you can see in front of you. You will be experiencing this meal at the Taj Tashi on your first day of arrival. In front of you is the most popular dish after emadatsi or chili and cheese, which are the momo dumplings. And this is something that you will find across the Himalayan kingdoms. So you'll find it in Nepal, you'll find it in Tibet, you'll find it in Sikkim, you'll find it in Bhutan, also the northeast of India. So very popular, can be vegetarian, pork, beef, chicken, etc., etc. Going on to what Bhutan offers in terms of shopping, authentically, a lot of things that you will see in the shops are imported, but you can always look at Thangka paintings, which are done by local artists, or mud statues, which are also made by local artists here. Also, what Bhutan is famous for is its red rice, which is grown in abundance all throughout, and also the local Bhutanese honey. But the most exported thing in Bhutan would be the cordyceps, which is, I'm sure a lot of you already know about it. It's a parasitic fungi which is harvested from the highlands, and in fact, it only grows in very, very high altitudes, almost at the snow line. Although it is not proven, it is supposed to be very good for kidney disorders, male sexual disorders, etc. Over to you, Alexa.
OK， 咦，Evelyn 啊，冬蟲夏草嚟嘅喎，點解我哋要去不丹買啊？
其實咧，而家內地嘅冬蟲夏草嘅產量咧就越嚟越少噶啦，而不單咧佢就有一個好好嘅先決嘅地理條件啦，因為種呢個冬蟲夏草咧係需要響高原嘅高海拔 between 3000至5000公尺之間嘅，而不單咧就有呢個好好嘅條件啦。再加上咧，呢個冬蟲夏草咧嘅種植到佢收割個時候咧，都由佢哋不丹政府好嚴厲咁監管噶，所以咧好多人都而家向不丹買冬蟲夏草都覺得好放心噶。
哦，OK，咁即係都係一個選擇嚟嘅
係啊。
喎。OK，好。
係 Rishi，maybe you want to share with us some interesting facts about Bhutan?
Yes, sure. So, in terms of some interesting facts, I've covered a couple of things, but it's quite interesting that this is the only country in the world which is carbon negative. So, what this basically means is that we consume more carbon than we can produce. This is purely because 60% of the country is actually under forest cover. And the government is actually aiming to increase this from 60% to 70% under the GNH schemes. Another interesting fact is televisions came into Bhutan only in 1999, which is 11 years ago. There are no traffic lights in this country. There's one traffic point in Thimphu where you will be able to see the dancing policeman. That's one of the highlights in Thimphu. As I said earlier, the airport in Bhutan only has about 17 qualified pilots who can land here because it is surrounded by 18,000-foot mountain peaks and an extremely short runway. So you need a lot of practice, a lot of experience to land here. And they are really, really good. We have never had an incident since airlines started in Bhutan until today. As I said earlier, again, chilies are not considered a vegetable. I mean, not considered a spice, but is actually a vegetable. So, and then in Bhutan, the highest peak is Gangkar Phunsum, which is at 7570 meters and remains unclimbed because of, again, the philosophy of Bon religion intermixed with Buddhism. We also spoke about the phallus. It is actually a symbol of fertility and good luck and is also believed to ward off bad luck. So you'll see it across Bhutan as you travel. So who are we? We have a very good team of experienced and energetic guides. They have been trained by us after they graduate out of the guide school. They've been working with us for the last 8 to 9 years. Our itineraries are very flexible. Our guides, what they do is they, interact with the guests. They understand what the needs are, and they change the itinerary accordingly even when you are here. So these things, what we do is we leave it to the guides and they can adapt it for you. We are very adept at handling VIP clients from around the world. We have been working with them for the last 8 or 9 years. We do a lot of work with local communities here. We support the Youth Development Fund, and they have a project called the My Gakit Village Project, where we support a small primary school. This was basically a school that was going to shut down because the government could not support it anymore. So, and the kids would have to then walk or hike at least 1.5 to 2 hours to the nearest school in the nearest bigger town. So we support that project. Then we work with a Lama here called Lama Shenfen, who basically helps teenagers who are into drugs, and we actually sponsor rehabilitation of those kids. We have also started a program where we are trying to get our guides to become entrepreneurs. So what we're doing is we're trying to give them loans, interest-free loans, and also help them with loans from the banks to start a car rental business where we actually hire their cars instead of buying our own vehicles. This basically helps in maintaining the vehicle, and since they are in the vehicle, they are very well looked after as well. Over to you, Alexa.
Okay, so we will show you another beautiful videos of Bhutan.